My name is Gutierrez, and I would like to talk to you about violence in video games and how it doesn't affect a teenager, since it doesn't make the teenager violent, or it doesn't create a massive shooter. Well, first of all, um, as teenagers, we all have grown with video games through our life, so we've seen through history that some persons believe violent games create a violent person, and even companies of video games have been demanded since for the reason that they created a violent game, which means they believe people will be violent if they see and do violence in a video game. So I would like to show you how experts and studies show people does not get violent by for video games. So first of all, the first person I would like to mention is the person I want to mention is her name is Granny Isabella, who wrote an article in 2000 and 2013, which the article is The Benefits of Playing Video Games. This article talks about how a video game can help a person to achieve a way better capacity to think about a place in 3 dimensions. So it helps a person to know where they are, wait, the place they are, and to learn other stuff. As for example, another thing that helps is that a video game can educate a person, since they can do puzzles or role playing games, which put the mind to work. However, a video game cannot change a person, cannot create a violent person, since almost 9 of 10 teenagers have played video games through his life, and it doesn't. And studies shows that video games are not the reason they decided to shoot someone else or to be a violent person. Which makes them be a violent person is the values that they get at home. And I would like to give you my second point about this, based on the studies. So this study I want to show you is in 2018. Alicia Judge made a study which put 5 people who had not played video games through his life in a room playing video games for a week. They were able to go to work and live his normal life, but they had to play video games at least once a day in just 1 week. She found out that the more they played, the more their stress got out, and the more she helped their mental health. So many people used to say video games can damage your mental health, but this study showed that the persons in this study were helped and were feeling better after the week of playing video games. Another reason why playing video games can help you to achieve a way better thinking is that testimony says that through difficult periods are allowed through difficult periods the video games allow them to create a community, to create friends, to unify uh, people. So even if you're alone and you start to play video games, you now can also know people, meet people at the game. So this can stop a person who feels alone to shoot or to do something violent. Which stops a person from being violent is that, well, in a video game, is that according to Dodgett and 2019, the psychological benefits of playing video games is that it creates a simulation, which helps a person to reach all his humanity, all the feelings a person needs to not feel alone, not feel hate, to feel something, to feel good. So personally, and I would like to use my personal testimony here, is that I've been playing video games through my whole life since I was like 9. So at first I started playing video games for kids. Then at 12 I started playing violent games. And instead of making me violent, they gave me friends who I already know right now. They're still my friends. Instead of making me violent, it also made me be I think it helps me be smarter. It helps me with my English because my native language is Spanish, and I used to play video games just in English, so it helped me in that too. Another thing that helps me with was to realize faster, to think faster than others, because of the video games put you in a moment so you can do things fast and now, which increases your speed in thinking. So personally, video games had helped me to many things. And another reason I would like to mention is the last study I want to mention, which made me realize video games does not create a violent person. This study is a study Susan Scotty did, and he shows in his article video games are unlikely to cause real world violence, which means the video games does not create a violent person for the reason. Well, the study is about, he published a study of 1,000 British adolescents that play violent video games and who have any at all violent or aggressive behaviors. So my conclusion is that this speech was focused on violence in video games, on how demons and on how people believes they can create a violent person just because they play a violent game. And I showed you facts about how a video game is not the reason there are violent persons. So there's a limit between real life and video games, and that limit is still there, and it will be there forever. So what I would like to mention at the end is that video games, instead of hurting a person, instead of making them an aggressive person, can help a person to achieve through difficult times, instead of just of just damaging his mental health. So video games are good for all the people who's stressed or who's not, but just want to have a great time. Or even it can help you meet people. And video games are more than just something to have fun with. Is what I would like to mention at the end. And if they do something, they did not create a. If I can tell you something, they are not the reason why violent person exists. Well, that's all for my part, and thank you for watching.